Good morning, guys. It's a little after 8 right now. We are sitting here. Check this out, guys. Real pretty lake. I just finished putting some top coat on a little floor that we had to touch up right there by the toilet. And I just came out here just to chill out here in God's country, man. It's a real beautiful day. I think it's gonna might get up to 80 something today, temperature-wise. It's going to get up to 85 today. And then it looks like it's supposed to rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's supposed to rain the rest of the week. What a deal. So enjoying the sunlight and no rain while I can, because it seemed to just rain all the time. But just wanted to kind of make a little video and don't have too much to say except just whenever you get a chance to just be outside in God's nature like this, away from all the noise, take advantage of that. Take advantage of time to reflect. Take advantage of time of rest. You don't want to overemphasize that. We want to be proactive followers of God and proactive members of society. We don't want to be reactive. We don't want to react when something comes up, but we want to, it's kind of what I've been reading about in this book that was written by Craig Groeschel, who's a pastor down in Oklahoma, I believe. It's called Think Ahead, and it's all about the idea of pre-deciding in life when something comes up, and it's such a beautiful idea. But really, it's just all about having a predetermined plan when something arises. And I think once you realize, and what's helped me a lot, is that Jesus calls us on one main mission to go and make disciples. I'll pull up the little verse here. He calls us to go make disciples. He calls us to love one another. He calls us to do many things in order for us to fully love Him and experience His joy and His presence and His peace and the fruits of the Spirit in Galatians. Goodness, steadfastness, patience, love, kindness, and there's many more fruits of the Spirit. And He also calls us to use the gifts that He gives us, and we all play different roles in this society. And I think one thing that really helps figuring out what I believe God calls us to do is where you can get a clear message from God, is being out here something similar to this. You know what I mean? There's nothing going on. This isn't even my house. I don't even own this property. We're just doing some work out here, and I figured I'd just come down here and sit while I let this sit for a little bit inside and just make a little video here to just kind of share my thoughts about reflection and how it's really so important. And if you're just go all the time, you really have to have time to think for yourself and where you stand at in your life sometimes. And without that time, you can get so caught up in the busyness of life, and you can do good busy things. It's like the story of Mary and Martha whenever they invited Jesus over for dinner. I think I'm probably gonna botch it, but I think it was Mary who was the one running around trying to set the table, make sure all the glasses are clean, the food's ready for this dinner that they're going to have with Jesus. And Martha chooses to sit at the feet of Jesus and just be in awe and in a time of worship for Him. And both things are good. And Mary's like, if it is Mary, please forgive me if I'm wrong. Mary is like, Martha's just sitting here doing nothing while I'm trying to get everything prepared. And Jesus says, Martha has really chose the better thing here to do, is being resting and in awe of Jesus. Jesus is the better thing. We can get so caught up in life in just the busyness of it, and the things that Mary were doing were very good things. But you have to, take a step back and, not let those things stress her out, because she was probably really stressed out. God calls us not to not be anxious and to not be worried. And it's cool he really just calls us not to be anxious and not to be worried, and to really just choose Jesus at the end of the day, which is what I believe it was Martha, if that's right, Martha was doing. So taking some time to rest and be in awe of Jesus and balance that out, and whenever something arises, have a predetermined plan. If something doesn't go the way that I want it to, how am I going to act? Not react. How am I going to act? Because we don't want to be reactive. Being a reactive person leads to many, I think, mistakes being made when it comes to decision making if you're solely reacting instead of being proactive and having a plan set up. So I'd say one thing I must say is just before you start every day, and I'm gonna start working on this, and it's something I've started working on, is just look at your whole day. Tomorrow's not even promised, so look at today. Look at today, what's going on, what's going to happen today. If I do this, what could be the outcomes? And if these are the outcomes, what's going to be the godly way to respond to those outcomes? And also, I was reading this in the book last night before I went to bed. If you are, every interaction, actually, I've got a picture of it, I remember. And I just kind of want to leave off with this. There are kind of three, we can make three faithful pre-decisions. And the number one is every interaction is an opportunity to add value. Number two, every resource is an opportunity to multiply. Every prompting is an opportunity to obey God. So when it talks about adding value and, opportunity to multiply, that kind of makes me think of the verse of the talents. I'll kind of share that story here a little bit. The talents, I think it's in Matthew. So it's in Matthew 25, it's the parable of the talents. So there's a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted them to his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 2, and to another one he gave 1. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 more. So also he had the 2 talents and made 2 more. But the one who had received the 1 talent went, dug it in the ground, and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he had received the 5 talents, came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. And the person, who had 2 talents came forward and said, Master, you delivered me 2 talents. I've made 2 more. And then, he says the same thing, Well done, good and faithful servant. The one person came back with only the 1 talent, not making any more. The master's response to him coming back with the same amount was, You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I scatter no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has will, more be given. For to everyone who has will, more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not what even he has, good grief, even what he has will be taken away. So basically, kind of what I get from that is, God gives us gifts, he gives us resources, and he wants us to put those to work. And I think sometimes in life it can be difficult for us to sometimes figure out what gifts and all the things that we have to be thankful for. So it's so important to, come out here and just take another look at this, man. Take another look and just be in awe of God's creation. Don't fall in love with the world, but be in awe with his beautiful creation. Be in awe with him, like Martha was sitting at his feet. And God gives us things, and he gives us opportunity to add value, and sit down before every day or at the end of every day and evaluate what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to be involved in X, Y, and Z. I'm going to have a meeting with a person. I'm going to be at work. I'm going to be with my family. What's going to be the godly way to act during those things? To be proactive and not to be reactive. I hope some of this kind of makes some sense. But you know, God, when God gives us all talents and He calls us to go add value to His kingdom. So I hope you guys are doing well. I've got to go back to work, but I love you all and hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you.